様の野望もこれで終わりじゃ。
Hello and welcome to another marvelous video. We're back exploring another iconic character, this time from the universe of Tekken. Today we will discuss one of the series' main characters, the head of the Mishima Zaibatsu, Heihachi Mishima. He first appeared in the very first Tekken video game, which came out in 1995. Heihachi, who is highly significant to the series and plays a vital role in story's development, appears in all Tekken-related tales and merchandise. He is frequently the adversary in the series. He is the patriarch of the Mishima dynasty and the inspiration behind the Iron Fist tournaments. So let us explore the backstory of this extremely powerful fighter in great detail. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Heihachi Mishima backstory explored. Heihachi made his debut in the first game in the franchise and has since appeared in every following one. He is the primary antagonist of the series despite being the main protagonist and anti-villain of the second game, since he is nearly always the cause of the events. Heihachi's significance to the plot diminished after Tekken 5 when he was reduced to a supporting role in the narrative. However, in Tekken 7, Heihachi was once more an integral component of the primary narrative and made a triumphant return as the game's malevolent protagonist. His origin story is short and crisp and goes something like this. Heihachi was born as the heir to the wealthy, powerful, and well-known Jinpachi Mishima, owner of the mighty Mishima Zaibatsu, and world-renowned martial arts instructor. Heihachi Mishima is Jinpachi Mishima's son, Kazuya Mishima's father, Lee Chaolan's adopted father, and Jin Kazama's grandpa. He is the founder and commander of the Tekken Force units and fights with Mishima-style karate smite. Except for the second and fifth King of Iron Fist tournaments, he has hosted all of them. Heihachi ruthlessly nurtured his son Kazuya, believing that he needed to develop a strong successor to whom he might someday pass the Mishima Zaibatsu. Kazuya grew up nice and feeble, much to his regret. Heihachi eventually betrayed Jinpachi and seized the Zaibatsu from his father. While his father was absent, Heihachi began to lead the Zaibatsu into the military business. Jinpachi sought to reclaim the Zaibatsu from his son after some time, but he failed and was eventually imprisoned beneath Honmaru, where he would remain for around 50 years. Heihachi has had enough of Kazuya's frailty and threw him down a steep ravine, declaring that if he were indeed his son, he'd be able to survive the fall and climb back up. Kazuya did succeed, but only because he made a bargain with the devil to stay alive. Heihachi adopted a Chinese orphan called Lee Chaolan and nurtured him as a competition to his actual son to further inspire Kazuya. Kazuya moved overseas and fought in martial arts contests over the years, eventually becoming an unbeaten champion. Heihachi finally felt it was time to put his son's might to the test, and he announced the first King of Iron Fist tournament. In the tournament, Heihachi was defeated by his son Kazuya, much to his amazement. Kazuya threw Heihachi down a cliff, much like Heihachi had done to him when he was younger, but as Heihachi is no ordinary man, he survived and returned 2 years later to compete in Kazuya's second King of Iron Fist tournament. After winning the tournament, he faces his adoptive son Lee and beats Kazuya in a duel. He then throws Kazuya, who was shown to be far too dangerous, into a volcano and murders him. Sometime later, he formed the Tekken Force, also called Tekkenshu in the Japanese version, and employed them as a quick response organization to satisfy the world's governments. The Tekken Force uncovered ruins in central Mexico 15 years after the conclusion of the second King of Iron Fist tournament and discovered Ogre, who destroyed them all. Later, Heihachi was approached by Jin Kazama, a 15-year-old young man claiming to be his grandson. Heihachi adopted him and trained him in Mishima-style karate, intending to use him as bait for Ogre. 4 years later, Heihachi launched the King of Iron Fist Tournament 3, which would undoubtedly entice Ogre to the meeting of combatants. Jin won the competition and overcame True Ogre, but Heihachi turned on him and shot him in the forehead. Surprisingly, Jin survived and turned into Devil Jin and hit Heihachi before before fleeing. In Tekken 4, Heihachi then planned to mix his own DNA with that of Ogre, but he learned that he would need the Devil Gene, which he knew Jin possessed, to do so. Over the following 2 years, Heihachi looked everywhere for Jin, but couldn't find him. Heihachi was fortunate because Jin was not the only one with a suitable Devil Gene. Heihachi uncovered proof that his son Kazuya's corpse was abducted and utilized for research by a competing firm called G Corporation. Heihachi's Tekken force attacked G Corporation's facilities and discovered that the corporation had revived Kazuya. In order to entice Kazuya into extracting the Devil Gene, Heihachi decided to stage the 4th King of Iron Fist tournament with his entire company's ownership as the grand prize. Simultaneously, he anticipated Jin Kazama being involved, so he devised a trap. His strategy was to send the Tekken force to capture Jin, force the 2 devil hosts to battle, and then defeat the victor when he was terribly weakened. With Jin taken by the Tekken force, Heihachi fought Kazuya in the tournament finals, which Heihachi won. It then brought Kazuya to his Honmaru complex where Jin was imprisoned. Fortunately, Heihachi was spared from Jin's fury when Jin was halted in his tracks by a vision of Jun Kazama. Jin then took off the Honmaru, knocking Heihachi out. G Corporation launched an army of Jack 4 units to assault Honmaru shortly after Jin's departure. Heihachi and Kazuya battled together, destroying multiple Jack 4s, but Kazuya pushed Heihachi to the Jack Force and he took advantage of the chance to flee by changing into Devil and flying away. One of the Jack Force initiated a self-destruct sequence, detonating and utterly destroying Honmaru, leading everyone to assume that Heihachi was no longer alive. Heihachi was actually tossed miles away, landing in a graveyard and remained unconscious for weeks. But Heihachi, no ordinary guy, survived against all odds. Heihachi was able to overcome Jinpachi in the end. Jinpachi, Kazuya, and Jin were shackled to a missile that was set to launch, and Jin had a smug expression on his face. Heihachi chuckled as he launched the rocket, presumably killing all of them. Heihachi is one of the significant characters in the Tekken 7 narrative mode. He appears in a flashback when Kazuya, as a youngster, battles him for the murder of Kazuya's mother. Kazuya, however, was easily overpowered. The rest is history as Heihachi tossed his own son from a cliff. To the present, after Jin goes AWOL, the Mishima Zaibatsu is left without a leader, so he resolves to go to the headquarters and battles his way back to the chairman's position. Using the Zaibatsu's lack of focus, he destroys every Tekken Force thug in his path until reaching Jin's former right-hand Nina Williams and defeats her as well. Returning to the throne, he recruits Nina and announces the 7th King of Iron Fist tournament. Later, Heihachi and Nina fly to Italy to employ the commander of the series' marksman, Claudio Serafino. They arrive at the marksman's headquarters only to be attacked by lackeys. Claudio himself arrives after they have been dealt with, telling Heihachi that he has denied every request Heihachi has made. Heihachi displays several photographs of his demonic progeny after they fought. This persuades Claudio to collaborate with Heihachi. Back at the Zaibatsu headquarters, Heihachi directs his Tekken force to kidnap Jin, who is currently in the Middle East. Lars, on the other hand, intervenes and takes Jin with him. Heihachi then returns to his dojo to practice meditation, but tranquility is short-lived as a stranger barges in and dares Heihachi to a fight. For a while, they both test their might, but they are stopped by an army of Jack 6 troops, so they decide to get rid of them for the time being. Heihachi is astonished by the stranger's prowess and asks for his name after dealing with the Jacks. He then announces himself as Akuma and explains that he has come on behalf of Kazumi, who has ordered him to murder her husband and son. Akuma also claims that he waited this long for Heihachi to strengthen before they resumed their battle. Akuma is eventually compelled to employ his ultimate technique, the Shungoku Satsu. The duel concludes with both Akuma and Heihachi trading final blows, with Akuma emerging as the victor. Heihachi, on the other hand, endures the trauma and survives. Back at the HQ, Heihachi intends to utilize the upcoming fight between Kazuya and Akuma to his advantage, so he directs the Zaibatsu satellite to it. So they both battle atop the G Corporation skyscraper, and when Akuma proves to be a struggle for Kazuya, he fights in devil form. Heihachi, anticipating this eventuality, uses the satellite to broadcast the proof that Kazuya can transform into a devil to the world, and then destroys the G Corporation's headquarters. Already believing he has won the battle and the trust of the world population, Heihachi Heihachi decides to terminate Claudio's services, but little did he know that Kazuya would retaliate by using a devil beam to decimate the Zaibatsu satellite, which collides with the city and turns the population against the Zaibatsu. Recognizing that the Zaibatsu would never recover, Heihachi could only condemn Kazuya. Heihachi subsequently discovers that a journalist attempted to penetrate the HQ searching for answers, so he requests that the journalist be brought to his dojo so that he may share his perspective on how it all began. He begins by informing the writer that he grew up practicing at his family's dojo alongside a girl named Kazumi Hachio, whom he later married. They soon became Kazuya's parents. However, their lives were turned upside down when Kazumi began acting strangely, even attempting to assassinate Heihachi, which they could only dismiss as mental disorders that would presumably go away.
貴様の野望もこれで終わりじゃ。
However, on a tragic night, Kazumi stopped Heihachi's training and told him that he was fated to become a menace to the world and that her family intentionally married her to Heihachi so she could get close to him and murder him. She then transforms into her devil form, forcing Heihachi to confront her. After a tough battle, Heihachi triumphs and departs from the dojo heartbroken, but Kazumi regains consciousness and attempts to murder him again. But Heihachi snatches Kazumi by the neck this time. She begs him, but Heihachi sees through her deception, understanding she's not the Kazumi she once knew, and snaps her neck. Heihachi then resumes his narrative, saying that he tossed Kazuya down the ravine because he couldn't risk having a murdering demon with him, and Kazuya surviving the fall verified his darkest suspicions, prompting Heihachi to warn that he didn't kill him right away. Finally, Heihachi mocks the journalist by saying he knew he was Lars's intermediary. When asked what this conflict means to him, Heihachi remains silent for a moment before ordering his soldiers to knock the journalist down and put him near a quay so Lars can pick him up. Later in his demolished dojo, Heihachi understands it's time for his last confrontation with Kazuya. Finally, Heihachi meets Kazuya face to face in a volcano and begins their final battle. They recall several instances of hate between them during their confrontation. Kazuya is compelled to reveal his complete devil form at some point. Heihachi anticipated this and fully charged his ki to stand a chance. Later, Kazuya performs his last strike on him, but Heihachi rises back up, and they continue to trade blows. Heihachi then puts all his force into his ultimate technique, which causes Kazuya's devil to back off. Kazuya and Heihachi battle fiercely by striking each other, but Kazuya hits a single devil gene-enhanced blow on Heihachi's chest, causing him to tumble to the ground. Kazuya then tosses his late father's body into the hot lava.
I am Mishima.
Heihachi Mishima in Tekken Bloodline. Tekken Bloodline is an animated television series based on the Tekken video game franchise. It was launched on August 18, 2022, and consists of 6 episodes, each lasting around 25 minutes. The series takes place between Tekken 2 and Tekken 3, with Jin Kazama practicing on Yakushima with his mother Jun Kazama. It roughly follows the plot of Tekken 3, with Jin losing his mother and embarking on a mission for vengeance against Ogre by training under his grandpa, Heihachi Mishima. Heihachi is a major character in Tekken Bloodline. He displays little interest in Jin, pushing him to fight when they first meet, and finds him unsatisfactory. His attention is only piqued when Jin adds that a green monster assaulted his mother. Heihachi then proceeds to sketch out a strategy years into planning to use Jin to entice the beast Ogre. He subjects Jin to a grueling program, repeatedly instructing him to abandon his Kazama pacifism and instead depend on the force and ferocity of Mishima-style fighting karate. He informs Jin that he must earn everything, even the pattern he wants on his gi. When a business colleague fails to deliver the Chang family pendant, he has Jin beat up the man for him, berating Jin for hesitating to finish the victim. Throughout the series, Heihachi is shown to be devious and manipulative. We see him lying to Jin in order to manipulate him, including convincing Jin that he was to blame for Ogre's attack on his mother, while in reality, Heihachi has released Ogre into the world in the first place. Jin drifts away from his grandpa as he learns more about Heihachi in the Mishima clan from other tournament contenders, rejecting more of his grandfather's beliefs in favor of compassion. Heihachi becomes increasingly enraged by this, mainly because Ogre has yet to appear at the tournament. Jin eventually wins the competition, and Heihachi confronts Jin, informing him that he has failed his mother, himself, and his lessons. Hearing this, an infuriated infuriated Jin surprised Heihachi with his Kazama Ryu, finally defeating Heihachi. According to Heihachi, the conflict has driven Jin to draw on his latent demon power to the point where Ogre can sense it. Ogre descends from the sky to attack Jin, and the Chang pendant glows with his presence. Jin's speech becomes warped and his eyes crimson after defeating Ogre in both forms. Heihachi argues that this is a devilish power that he is doing the world a favor by ridding of it. He shoots Jin, who falls. This starts Jin's transformation into Devil Jin. Devil Jin attacks Heihachi and clobbers him to the ground, only halting at the behest of Ling Shuayo and Huarang before flying off into the darkness. What is Heihachi Mishima like, and what makes him deadly? Heihachi is a cunning, astute businessman who is captivating and skilled at influencing others. He has a wicked sense of humor that makes it difficult for others to discern whether he is kidding or deadly serious. Heihachi has a nasty streak that ranges from tossing his 5-year-old kid down a cliff to ordering the execution of his former employees. He presumably imprisoned his father for over 20 years, murdered his wife, shot his grandchild, and routinely used kidnapping and physical intimidation. Both Kazuya and Lee, Heihachi's adopted son, dislike him intensely, implying that he was abusive to them as well in their childhood. Heihachi has an insatiable drive for power, which has led to his designs for global dominance, the enhancement of his own strength through genetic research, and the pursuit of endless youth. He has fought against all of his kin for his selfish benefit. Heihachi is also quite tenacious. Despite setbacks and losses at the hands of his son and grandson, he bides his time and miraculously returns to power, proving his cunning and ability to handle crisis circumstances. He instilled in his boys a principle that applied to both martial arts and in life, which goes something like, the winner of a fight is the last person standing. There is nothing else which mattered, emphasizing his departure from his father's more respectable approach. Heihachi, although being a skilled businessman, prioritizes violence and plays an almost unholy role. Despite this, Heihachi appears to have a more compassionate side. He adores animals and has reared 2 bears from birth and taught them to fight. Heihachi loved his wife, Kazumi Mishima, before the Devil Gene took control, and there are instances when he appears more emphatic in various games. He is frequently kind to Xiaoyu and had given her a panda to guard her. Heihachi is an elderly yet muscular man. Throughout the Tekken series, he has a unique hairdo, with his hair hovering up from behind his ears, huge sideburns, and a mustache. Heihachi has a star-shaped scar on his chest as of Tekken 2, which he earned after Kazuya tossed him off a cliff at the end of the original Tekken. Heihachi's hair is initially black, but following the 19-year time-lapse between Tekken 2 and Tekken 3, he gets gray hair. His black hair appears in Tekken 1, Tekken 2, Tekken Tag Tournament 2, and in the flashbacks of Tekken 7. He may also be customized in Tekken 7 to resemble his younger self. Heihachi Mishima is a world-class fighter of the Mishima School of Karate, which is similar to Gojo Ryu Karate, with a forceful, arrogant, and lethal fighting style and discipline. He has spent most of his life as a world-class fighter. Although he is no longer at his physical peak, his cunning, ability, and experience more than compensates. He is one of the most outstanding options for players who prefer an aggressive strategy because he has many deadly and over-the-top techniques. His damage potential is ridiculously great, and most of his finest actions are risk-free. Heihachi, unlike Kazuya, has little issue pressing the opponent with pokes, and like all Mishima, he possesses fantastic punishers, albeit Kazuya's and Devil Jin's are far more diverse and helpful.
I am Mishima Heihachi. I am.
Threatening appearances of Heihachi Mishima in other media. In the 1996 animated film Tekken the Motion Picture, Heihachi Mishima appears and plays a crucial part. He is the tale's main adversary and essential to much of the film's narrative development, and is the source of motivation for most of the other characters' plot. In the Japanese version of this film, he is portrayed by Daisuke Ji, while in the English version he is voiced by John Paul Shepard. The film depicts the connection and rivalry between Heihachi Mishima and Kazuya Mishima, beginning with Heihachi's callous deed of throwing Kazuya from a cliff and progressing until Kazuya's adulthood and road of vengeance. Heihachi must also contend with Michelle Chang's thirst for revenge and Li Chaolan's unhappiness with some of the tournament's contenders. In one of the most notorious sequences from this film, Heihachi is seen grabbing a tomahawk with just his teeth and biting it so forcefully that the metal edge breaks. Heihachi Mishima also appears as a starring antagonist in the 2010 live-action film Tekken. Heihachi Mishima is represented by prominent and renowned Japanese-American actor, martial artist, and producer Kari Hiroyoku Tagawa. The film is set in a futuristic world in 2039 when world wars have destroyed many countries' governments and political institutions to the point that big companies now dominate society. Heihachi Mishima is the CEO of Tekken Company, the world's largest and most powerful corporation, dominating and influencing much of North America. Although he starts off as a bad guy in this movie, he eventually develops into a much more likable character than in the video games, since he is prepared to risk his life to protect Jin from the Tekken Corp troops. His son Kazuya Mishima kills him in an effort to take over Tekken. Heihachi seems to be put to death at the movie's conclusion, but a post-credit sequence shows that he actually lived through it. Heihachi has also made several non-canonical appearances, and one of his most famous non-canonical appearances was in Street Fighter Cross Tekken. When Heihachi learns that the mysterious Pandora box has arrived in the Antarctic, he teams up with Kuma to search for it. Heihachi plans to deprive Kazuya and Jin of their prize after realizing that Shadowloo, G Corporation, and the Mishima Zaibatsu are all interested in it. Along the journey, Heihachi must confront M. Bison and Juri, in addition to his rivalry with Abel and Guile. Akuma is a lone warrior who serves as Pandora's ultimate protector. After obtaining Pandora, Heihachi's ending shows the box opening and granting him the most desired gift, restoring his youth. However, Kuma gets in the way and is turned into a cub, and only one of Heihachi's sideburns returns to its original black color.
And now, my reward.
In the online game Tekken Card Tournament, Heihachi is a playable character. He serves as the game's premium character due to his unique capacity to impose or cancel out his opposition's actions. He can also revive himself when appropriate cards come into play. He may compel his opponent to block, not attack, concentrate, or not block, making battles against him scary. He can also drain his opponent's hit points and deal powerful blows, but his disadvantage is that one of these cards enforce or cancel out his own actions, resulting in inconvenient situations and significant drawbacks, mainly because the other fighters will have specific cards that can be used to exploit his abilities. Overall, he is suggested for experienced fighters and those willing to pay for his extra cards, as his cards are significantly more expensive than those of typical characters. Matchups against him are rarely witnessed because few gamers play as him online. Apart from these, Heihachi has appeared in many Tekken-related tales and even in narratives that have no direct connection with Tekken whatsoever. We're talking about games like Soul Calibur 2, Pac-Man Fever, Project X Zone, etc. Marvelous verdict. Heihachi is unquestionably one of the most captivating fighting game antagonists in history. He's got a hard-hitting, karate-based fighting technique that real-life martial artists may highly appreciate, a distinctive appearance, and a terrific sense of humor. We'd never seen a fighting game boss utilized as comic relief as much as Heihachi, yet he still keeps all of his badassery intact. Heihachi has obviously come a long way and he's built quite a reputation over time. He evolved exceptionally in the Tekken series. Namco always gave him ferocious new techniques and upgraded his look in the sequels. How about you guys? What do you think about Heihachi? Let us know in the comments below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.